Hi, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. This right here is something that I'm so glad I reached out about because we said here on Converge, we wanted to be very steadfast in providing information to folks. And people kept asking me, what is going on with that $30 million? Okay, went to OCR. What are they doing now? Okay, there was a group that got hired. I really wanted to talk to y'all to get these details. And so, what I know, the 30 million came into the office. You guys then put out an RFP to get a third party to really manage the process. Tell us a bit about that first leg of the work you guys had to do to get this ball rolling.
That's right. We put out an RFP to get somebody, a third-party administrator, to run the PB process because we thought that having third-party would be really helpful in making sure that all the community members can fully engage and that this could be a fully community-led process. Once the organization that got the contract is called Participatory Budgeting Project. And after a period of contract negotiations, we started working with that. The Participatory Budgeting Project is it's a nationally known, well-known organization who has been doing participatory budgeting work across the country and parts of Canada. And are the real experts in doing this, especially for something that's this important. We're excited to have them be the ones that are taking the lead on this.
Yeah, and this is pretty extraordinary. I've heard a lot in terms of statistical details about this being one of the largest participatory budgeting processes that a lot of folks have seen. So it makes sense that y'all went to kind of an outside expert. I know some of the criticism I heard in community was, hey, they don't know how we move in Seattle, and how are they going to get those details from community members and be engaged in what community members were expecting out of this in order to inform their process. So get it that they are gifted and talented in terms of kind of a national leader, but how have you guys been able to address how they're going to really dive in with true Seattleites and people who really were on the streets, protesting for this money, how that level of relationship building is also informing their process and their decisions?
That's why we really liked their proposal when they showed up, because they knew that really engaging with community members, really building those relationships was key to having a successful PB process, because ultimately PB, participatory budgeting, is community led. And as part of their work, it's taken some time for them to build connections, to learn from community, to engage fully, to make sure that community knows that PB is happening. That's part of the reason we're here, is to let folks know what's happening with the PB process so people are fully engaged. We also have the Participatory Budgeting Project has different ways that community members can engage. And we want to make sure that folks are going into and applying for these positions so that that we do get the voice of the community. But ultimately, it's going to be an intentional, slow process to make sure that people actually trust us, to trust the Participatory Budgeting Project, and continues to engage with them.
Well, just like I asked John about his role, I want to hear how integral your role is from the Office of Civil Rights in this entire process, Mano.
Yeah, I'm the strategic advisor for the PB process, and I'm managing the contract with the Participatory Budgeting Project. And I'm also working to bring together people in the city itself that have different levels of expertise of how budgeting works, how specific departments do their work, so that PBP and community members can gel together with the city effectively, so that we get proposals at the end of the day that we can move forward with. So that's really my job, is to make sure that the things happening on the city end are really matching up with what's happening on the community end.
Well, that's great to hear. And you also mentioned some roles that they need to fill. We have a slide here. I want to make sure people understand. Tell us a bit more about some of these positions that Participatory Budgeting Project, be clear, it's not Office of Civil Rights that's hiring. It's the Participatory budgeting project that is happening, and that where these roles will be. Tell us a little bit more about some of these positions.
Yeah, PBP, the Participatory Budgeting Project, is hiring 3 positions. They're the Community Engagement Director, Community Engagement Manager, Participatory Budgeting Coordinator, and People's Fellowship Manager. These are all positions that we want people who are very familiar with, or that PBP wants people who are very familiar with the community, have history within the community to really apply for. And these positions have been open for a while, but that's only just because we want the best applicants coming into this. If you've seen the positions before, please look at them again and really consider applying and putting your application. Work that we're doing here is really critical and important for the success of the PB process.
It really is. And I think it's going to require people who were a part of the original process in terms of being out in the streets, protesting. I've spoken to many folks who are like, man, I need to do more. Now that we're no longer in the streets, how else do I affect change? And this is one of those ways to do that. So if folks are looking to get involved, be a part of the participatory budgeting process, and really be engaged with PBP, tell us, how do folks do that? I think we also have another slide that kind of shows some ways to stay connected, but just tell us how folks can be doing that.
The best way to get engaged and involved and know what's happening is go to pbseattle.org. That is the website that the Participatory Budgeting Project has put together, and you'll be able to find all of the critical information around the PB process, where it is, the timeline, and you can sign up. I think on there you'll also see my information, my contact information. It's Emmanuel De Silva at Seattle .gov, and then also Kayla, who is the staff person at PBP, who please feel free to reach out to her directly with the email that's on the screen.
Well, this is exciting because you guys are doing the work to, a lot of folks were like, man, if it moves too fast, maybe it won't really have the effect that I think a lot of folks were looking for. And then some were like, well, if it moves too slow, will the money ever come out to community? Yeah. So there's this balance that I think has to be met when we're talking about the PB process. And I'm just grateful that, my show and this platform can be of service to ensuring people know how to stay engaged with this, because a lot of folks have been asking and been wanting to know. And so I'm glad to know that PBP is saying, look, we need to connect with y'all. We want to hear from y'all. Not only do we have these positions, but there are other ways to be engaged and involved. And at the end of the day, if the recommendations are really coming from a robust set of community members, not just a subset, but a robust set of community members who really have had divestment happen in their communities, they've had neglect happen in their communities, we need direct funding to really address a lot of the harms that were caused by those practices. And so a lot of folks see PB process as being a way to do just that. So thank you so much, Mano, for your work on this. And please, y'all, I'll be tapping back in with y'all to say, where are we at now? Who do I need to be talking to? Does Kayla need to come on next to tell us about the next phase of this? We will definitely stay connected and keep this information alive for the people so they can stay engaged. Thanks so much, Mano.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.